for our next segment, it's been a year now, almost a year ago when isolation started across the world. Many of these Urantia organizations, we all just tried to figure out what can we do. There were all these limits on what we can't do, but so many of these organizations started focusing immediately upon what can we do to better serve the community. And Urantia University Institute, UUI, one of the things they started almost immediately was the UUI Cafe, this place where a Zoom meeting where you could go and you can meet with others and have this discussion, and they made it regularly available at least 4 up to 6 times per week. There will be a discussion happening at different times throughout the day to try to accommodate people from all over the world and different schedules and different timelines. And it's been a wonderful service that they've put forward. And so for this 24-hour Urantiathon, we wanted to invite UUI to come and combine their cafe that was regularly scheduled for right now with the 24-hour Urantiathon. And so for the next 2 hours, we're turning this into hopefully a very big UUI Cafe discussion. Our hosts, now the hosts for the cafes are different each time, so they go through a nice rotation. The host for this particular presentation will be Stuart Kerr. Stuart's been reading the Urantia book since 1974. He's the past president of the Connecticut Fellowship Society and a secretary for Urantia Society of Greater New York. He's a current member of Greater New York's Translation Oversight Committee. Over the last 30 years, he's led over a dozen workshops at various Urantia book conferences. He's the author of God, Man, and Supreme, Origin and Destiny, as well as Parallels, Topical Comparisons of quotes from the Holy Bible, Ernest Holmes, Tolle, Rami, and the Urantia book, as well as some other people whose names I can't quite pronounce. He's also on the editorial team for the newly published The Untold Story of Jesus, a modern biography of the Urantia book that was put out by Urantia Foundation just about a year ago. Stuart's currently retired and living in Greensboro, North Carolina. He leaves a professional career as an industrial chemist for such corporations as General Electric, Arco Chemical, and Roan Polick, with a total accumulation of 14 US patents. He's been playing the classical guitar for over 50 years. Stuart, the next 2 hours are yours.
Okay, guys, I'm out of like the horse at the beginning of the race. I'm out of the chute. So here we are. Hello, everybody. Let's take care of some business first. I want to thank David Kulicki for his presentation, really good presentation, deep, complex, on evolution, the supreme being, emergence of supremacy in time and space in relation to the perfection of paradise. Touched upon predestination and providence. And the idea here is, I just want to say, and I didn't have a chance to end up with David, but I'm going to say it now quickly. I believe that our Father in heaven, with his omniscient mind of absolute mind, knows Alpha, Omega. He knows the beginning of creation, absolutely. He knows the end of creation, where it is headed in destiny, in providence, what we're involved with. And that's the endeavor to find a balance of emergence of light and life from a starting of absolute imperfection. So what I see here is, in my mind, I am not an avowed determinist. I do not believe we live by a script that God already knows. He creates us. He knows whether we're going to accept his gift of eternal life or not. I don't believe that. I believe God, as he did with his Son and the infinite Spirit, wanted to expand his personal expression with children of us in time and space. So he took eternity, infinity, the infinite swarm, and said, I'm going to separate the waters and I'm going to create a qualified reality of time and space. They call it the deity reality of supremacy. This is where all evolution and change is meant to be. So when we endeavor to find a new aha moment, a new significant contribution to understanding this challenge of living from imperfection as tadpoles, trying to become frogs, trying to get kissed by a princess to become a prince, and so on. We have a path of destiny. So I just want to say, David, thank you. I did want to share that with you. The second thing is, this past year, as we know, has been a very unusual year of seclusion. Very often, the culture of our lives from 1955, right from the beginning, said, get together and form study groups. What are they saying? Share the revelation. Bring the cosmic balance to your brothers and sisters and share it. And from that point, way back 1955, we have evolved to a point of, I guess, embracing this revelation, but also believing that our purpose is to raise the cosmic consciousness of humanity. So let me say, Chris, thank you for letting me be here, one. But two, we're working globally right now. And by the way, I think we ought to do this 4 times a year to start off. Every single season, set up a global connection, because we are talking cosmic consciousness on Urantia, on a world. Let's find cosmic sanity. Let's find cosmic balancy. So again, thank you. This is the evolutionary effort. Okay. In what I'm involved with right now for the past year, we were in seclusion. We were lonely. We were getting hungry for human contact. And our whole lives were restructured. But the internet changes reality for us. Here we are, 84 souls in the community of the kingdom of God, connected today in his name, Jesus Christ. He is with us right now because we are here in his name. Don't take away his ability to stay with us with his comforter, to be with us in this experience of what we're doing. So I look at it that way. In the activities that I'm involved with, recently, I guess for the past year, I have been a substitute teacher for the Urantia University Institute 5 days a week. Usually it's Monday through Friday, every single day, different times of the day, so you can tune in depending on what part of the world you can catch on this segment of the world. And we have people now, the heart and soul of the group. May I say this is Academy Award moment. It's a matter of saying Elizabeth Callahan is the heart and soul of the Urantia University. This is a woman of commitment and balance and sanity. And she is the center. Every one of us in the Urantia University involvement are dedicated to it because of her spirit being dedicated. I would say today, this is Friday, and Andre Radatis, I hope you're still here. I don't want to go check. Oh, there you are. Andre Radatis, my brother, this is your time. You were originally conflicted potentially.
Yeah.
I stepped in on you, didn't I?
No, I mean, I'm grateful that you were able to take it. I was supposed to be with family. I ended up having a reaction to some vaccine. And in the age of COVID, that means I present with symptoms that are COVID-like. So I chose not to be with my family. And that's why I'm here. But I'm very, very grateful that you were able to step in my stead. Well done.
I am honored. And by the way, can I say, now I'm not going to spend time on this. I learned about this opportunity in around midday Sunday, this past Sunday, that there was an opportunity for stepping in. And I just said, okay, I'll do it. I'll step in. I can substitute. I love being a substitute. It's great. And, but then I had to come up with a topic. And I went into my files and I went to two related files that were only outline skeletons. And that was on the idea of Trinitization, not just the creator Trinitization of the Trinity, but of creature Trinitization. Fascinating subject. And Andre, last week, we touched upon some of the Trinitized individuals of ascending mortals, like a mighty messenger, and you brought it up and you quizzed everybody as you ought to do. Why were they embraced by the Trinity? And what does that mean to be embraced by the Trinity? So I just want to thank you, Andre, for that first. I want to add some more people. There are dedicated individuals who do this every single week. You've got Jeff Taylor and Susan Meyer, and they teamwork together. You talk about a 1-2 punch. And when they come in and give a presentation, and usually they're about an hour and a half, it's powerful stuff. Merritt Horn as a traditional, and Merritt is just a foundation stone. Michael Painter, oh my God, when he steps in, Michael has a perspective that's unique to him. And the way he brings the truth of the revelation is unique to his way of living it. Wonderful. Bennett Rutenberg, I believe, Bennett, you were here today. Marvin Garwin, oh my God, you have a standard that you're doing on a regular focus of really, I guess, the human personal involvement with life and the challenges. And you get focused on that. And then finally, we have a lady who is our mistress of service with good nature and beyond belief, Ari Horn, the daughter of Merritt Horn. So that's the Urantia University. I just want to say my personal testimony is what a blessing it has been to be involved with so many people involved with this revelation. Okay? Now, here, let's go into it. The introduction of today, Trinitization. What does that mean? The revelators say to us sometimes something that breaks the mortal pattern that we can't comprehend. We have to transcend. They say 1 + 1 does not equal 2. It equals 3. Now, how do they figure that out? Well, you've got the one and the other, but then you have a third reality, the relationship between the two of them. In Taoism, they talk about this triune nature of reality as the beginning and the ending and the relationship between the two, the obeyer of commands. This is part of the Taoism. So we're looking at a nature of 1 + 1 equals 3. What did the Father do? The Father starts from the deity potentials of the deity absolute that separates from the fathomless swell of infinity and eternity of the unqualified absolute, no distinction, and pulls away and says, I am. What does that mean? It creates a powerful tension between the static level of infinity of the unqualified absolute and now the deity absolute potential now of I am signifies personality. And what does that mean? Personality is foundationed on creative free will and creativity, the ability to take that free will and create something new. When he did that, it created what they call in the seven absolutes, the three absolutes of potential. The unqualified absolute, the pulling away of the qualified absolute called the deity absolute, and then, as Taoism says, the relationship between them. 1 + 1 = 3. All right? So let's just get that. That's the conundrum we have to wrestle with. I am going to go, let me go into the screen share, and we will get this started. Okay, let's see, where am I? Here we are. Beautiful. And share. You guys ought to see it pretty soon. I'll wait for everybody to come on. Let's see how long it takes. And you guys, Chris, do you see this yet?
I see that you're trying to share the screen. I don't yet see the screen.
It hasn't popped on for you yet.
No, but what's dominating the screen is just saying that you're starting to, hey, there it is. I see Trinitized Teacher Sons.
You got it?
Yes.
It takes time. I hate that about Zoom. I got to write them a letter and say, hey, you know what? Focus on getting that a shorter interim. I hate the waiting moment for putting it on screen and saying there it's shared and then trying to get confirmation that we're all in connection. Okay, today I want to talk to you, and we've got 2 hours, so we've got a lot of time, and I want to put the focus into our end discussions. Okay, when we talk about Trinitization, let's look at it from the human level. A man and a woman get together. 1 + 1. But what do you end up with? A child. 3. A relationship. Something new has come together by the relationship of these two entities of being. When you think of, let me get the other one that I had here. Yeah, the midwayers. Consider the midwayers. We have two groups of midwayers, midway creatures that are not physical, but they are of the human race in pattern generation. They come from two different unusual celestial events on our world. The first, Kalagashya, our planetary prince, came 500,000 years ago, came with 100 rematerialized ascending mortals who had gone through the mansion worlds, gotten to Jerusalem, and volunteered for rematerializing service on our world. But they didn't have bodies that would suit, so they had to make new life carrier, physical controllers, everything coming in to create a new body for them with a human who contributed life plasm to create the form. Now, we have a new creature here of a rematerialized being. Now, intimacy between personalities is inevitable. And when they got together in a combination of what they call sexual, but not quite sexual, of spiritual as well, a combination of 1 + 1 = 3, they get together and they create the whole series of primary midwayers. That's unusual. In the Revelation, when I first read that, I'm there scratching my head so much, I think I lost hair. It was like, are you kidding me? What does that mean? But it doesn't end there. Adam and Eve, 35,000 years ago, came here. And their children were not of, they were rematerialized, Adam and Eve, into the form. And their children were of this pattern of something new. And when 1 + 1 comes together with them, they create this material spiritual manifestation of secondary midwayers, a whole new generation. And if you look at even the case of Rata, the woman who got involved, I think, with, I don't know the details, but she had 4 children, one of which was invisible. This is a 1 + 1 = 3 that's not of the material nature that I know of in raising my children, but it is a 1 + 1 = 3. Okay, let's take this now into it. I think that's the foundation I want you to hold on to. And take notes if you can. This is from paper 113. And they talk about this 1 + 1 = 3 regarding our seraphim, our guardian seraphim. And they say, only destiny guardians, those who are assigned to watch over us and our embryonic souls as it evolves, are mustered into the primary or mortal core of the finality. I'm not going to go into that here. It's a huge thing to do that. And such pairs have engaged in the supreme. I just mentioned that. This time-space separating the waters of infinity, of time-space supreme adventure. And that's exactly the term you need, of identity at oneness. 1 + 1, identity at oneness. And that's almost atoneness. You could almost look at that if you take away that little dash there. By unification, 2, unifying, but it doesn't equal 2, it equals 3. On Seraphington, this is where they do it. When they reach the worlds of the Father on Paradise, and they come together at that state of completion of ascendancy, they can unify with each other. And if you remember the angels, our guardian seraphim, the seraphim are created in 2, not genders, but I would say personality categories, and they call them positive and negative. And they work together complementary. They work together in a way where each contributes to what the other is involved with, all right? In this experience, the 2 angelic natures, so complemental in all universe functions, achieve ultimate, which by the way transcends supreme, spirit 2 in oneness, repercussing in a new capacity, 3 capacity, for the reception of and fusion with a non-adjuster fragment. Not a thought adjuster as we get, but it is a fragment separated from the deity of God even before he says, I am as I am, making it pre-personal. When you fragment, you're working at the level of deity expression. I'm not going to go any further than that. That's a whole different topic of the Paradise Father. That we know. And so do some of your loving seraphic associates in time also become your finaliter associates in eternity, children of the Supreme and perfected sons of the Paradise Father. Now that's just the teaser there. Let's go into some of the terms that we have just been introduced to and that I've been talking about. These are the terms I want you to think about, the patterns of a new language that the revelators take from the English pattern that they inherited in the 1930s and that they then embraced and then reintegrated and upgraded and enhanced in meaning and value. They talk about identity at oneness, good term. Spiritual, by unification. Spirit, 2 in oneness. Now let's take some other terms. This is where we're going to go in the investigation. Trinitization. They talk about something called very unusual. And this is something I would say, man, if you understand this, you are incredible. Trinity embrace. What the heck does that mean, to be embraced by the Trinity of paradise? They talk about Trinity origin beings, beings that find their existential origin in the Trinity. That's not us, obviously. But then they talk about a term we're going to touch upon, creature trinitization. I'm not going to talk about that now. Here's the other one. They talk about the 1 + 1 coming together, creating a new potential in the evolution towards light and life and the creation of new values and meanings of concept and dash identity, form, a pattern of that concept, a living pattern. Here's the other one. And even in Christian theology, there's God who's considered the original and absolute thought. There is the Son who is considered the expressed word. But then when you get the 1 + 1, the deity unity of the Father and Son, of the thought and the word, result in absolute relationship, the act of the third person of the Trinity, the infinite Spirit. 1 + 1 = 3. Pattern. Okay. Now let's go into why I believe this can be supported. And by the way, I am always up for discussion, because if I'm wrong in an area, let me know. I want to know. Here it is. They talk about identity at oneness, spirit 2 in oneness is similar to the creation of. And here's a term that the Revelation introduces in their revelation that I'm sure confuses everybody first reading. Creature trinitized sons of God, whereby two beings, and this is their definition, achieve spiritual by unification. Quote, the experience of the supreme creative performance of perfect and perfected. Havoners and paradise citizens were created perfect. They did not have to evolve in time and space. Perfected spiritual beings are those who evolved through the grand universe, the 7 super universes of time and space. Basically, mortal ascenders are right in that category. So what we have here is the perfect. So now what they say is, Paradise Havona personalities and certain members of each of the finaliter cores. Here we go. Paradise and Havona personalities. Citizens, we're going to go through a billion worlds of Havona. We're going to meet a whole new pattern of perfect, not perfected. They are born. But you know what the Urantia book says? Havoners and paradisers are deprivated. What can possibly be their deprivation? They don't have the experience of evolution. Evolution is a new energy. And when Grand Fanda entered in the perfect balance of Havona, it changed reality in this universe age forever. Okay. Under specialized conditions of paradise perfection, these superb beings, an ascendant mortal and either a Havona citizen or a paradise citizen, may embark 1 + 1 = 3 upon the unique adventure of concept identity. And they are many times successful in the production. Now, this is the one that blows my mind, of a new being. Man, I thought new beings were done with this world and growing children. Well, this organism of creation is a living creation. a new being, a creature. They call them creature Trinitized sons. These are sons that, like the, the word and the thought, etc., is a pattern result of something new. But they're still personality in the personality circuit, which means they are endowed with free will and creativity. New creature Trinitized sons, and that means both boys and girls, but you're not talking gender at this stage, trust me. We're talking personality expression. The ascendant adjuster fused mortal finalators who have attained certain levels of paradise culture and spiritual development are among those who can. And by the way, let's just talk about this. We all think that because we are thought adjuster and dwelt by the Father, every pattern and every destiny path is all going to the same path, to go to the right hand of the Father on paradise, to recognize the infinite spirit first, the eternal Son second, and then finally get final approval of recognizing not just the personal nature of the Father, but his deity nature, standing by the right side of him. So when we have done this under specialized conditions of paradise perfection, our efforts on paradise to find the Father and find perfect unification and connection at his right side, these superb beings may embark upon the unique adventure now of concept identity. We can be co-creative. Our master son, Jesus, is no longer a creator son. Anything he does will transcend supremacy and have ultimate reactions. In many ways, he is now cut short of utilizing that energy until we reach light and life in the grand universe. Okay. The ascendant adjuster fused mortal finalators who have attained certain levels of paradise culture and spiritual development are among those who can attempt, just like the staff of Caligastia or the children of Adam and Eve, to trinitize a new creature being, a concept identity. See how this fits together. Now, this is huge, but I'm going to believe everybody here is getting a flavor of it. When a new and original being, a child that we create in trinitization, is trinitized by the divine persons of deity, the Father, Son, and Spirit. That's the presence of the Trinity. The divine parents are deity in deity potential unchanged. It's like fusion. You think when you fuse, all of a sudden you're now God. No, What you have is a motorboat that once you learn how to use it, is going to take you all the way to Havana. But you don't know how to use the darn thing. A creator paradise son of the order of Michael takes origin, as we now know, through a joint action of the universal Father and the eternal Son. He personalizes from, quote, the perfect union, and here it is, of the perfect concepts of the two infinite and eternal and perfect minds of the universal Father and the eternal Son. And that's from paper 21. And here's a great quote from paper 7 from the Sun papers. Every time the universal Father and the eternal Son now jointly project a new, original, identical, unique, and absolute personal thought, a new pattern of expression, potential, that very instant, this creative idea is perfectly and finally personalized in the being and personality of a new and original creator's son. Is that not the epitome of the pattern of 1 + 1 = 3? Okay. But when exalted creature beings, and exalted, I think, is like an ascending mortal like us, men, women, all of us as inheritors of the kingdom of God. When we enact such a creative episode, the contracting and participating individuals undergo, and here's a term they introduce to us, a unique personality modification. Our personalities on our path is to somehow become finaliters in the core and then wait to go out with the Master Son Jesus and the Mother into the outer space levels. But that's not the only destiny. There are other destinies for all mortal originating beings of personality. And it says, the two ancestors of a creature trinitized son. Oh my God, what does that mean? I have no idea what it would be to interact with a creature trinitized son of a ascendant mortal and a paradise citizen or a Havona citizen. Become, in a certain sense, spiritually as one. Simultaneously with the appearance of a new creature trinitized son, there occurs this functional union of the two ancestors. This is what they tell us. The two trinitizing parents, whatever we might get involved with, become one, not on the supreme level of time and space. We transcend to the level of ultimacy, the ultimate functional level. Well, these parents of creature trinitized sons become as one in their universe assignments. Remember, we started with the angels, positive and negative, on Seraphim, joined together now as one perfect balance. Become as one in their universe assignments. They continue to be reckoned still on the records as two separate recognizable personalities in the makeup and roll calls of the core of the finality. Those who are being kept in reserve to send out and infuse into the outer space adventure of the next universe age. And the architects of the master universe who have everything in the blueprint to get ready to mobilize this new adventure. Here's the thing, crudely speaking, and this is what I've been alluding to, the act of trinitization is a supreme unifying marriage. I can't think of another human word that works. Of two personality beings of perfection, attained, original, or those of who become perfected, with the automatic springing forth of a new trinitized child of supreme concept identity. That's used a number of times. The act of trinitization is the supreme creative performance of perfect and perfected. Perfect Havoners, perfect paradisers, perfected ascenders, spiritual beings, whereby pairings of Paradise Havona personalities and certain members of each of all seven finaliter cores that are gathering of these ascendant mortals embark upon the unique adventure of concept of identity. And this transaction results in the production of a new being, a creature trinitized son. So this is kind of where I've come to. This is, to me, it's very clear this is what they're telling us. Now here is an ascender that has gone through a different kind of trinitization. He's a mighty messenger. And he has been personally embraced for a particular reason by the Trinity in a different act, quality act of trinitization. And he says, and by the way, anytime you see in this revelation, I or we, the essayist of that paper is stepping out and talking to us on this world personally. He says, I, a mighty messenger. By the way, just quickly, a mighty messenger is an ascendant mortal who has come from a position where he has earned recognition of being an agendanter, one who can show faith in complete absence of sanity or balance of showing that faith. Somebody like Van, who would fight his major boss at Caligastia, the devil of our world, and say, I cannot stand by this. That is an act of free will expression. It's powerful. A mighty messenger embodies that kind of faith energy expressed in the ascendancy career plan of all human beings, which I believe is the seventh major purpose of God, expressed in most ideal sense in the seventh super universe. All right, so I, a mighty messenger, cannot fully unfold to the material mind the experience of the supreme creative performance of perfect Havoners and paradises. Remember, these terms are engineeringly well applied and perfected spiritual beings. The act of Trinitization. The techniques of Trinitization are among the secrets of Vice-Gerrington and Solitarianton and are revealable to and understandable by none save those who have passed through these unique experiences. For instance, we can never experience the incarnation of Michael. We're not creator's sons. It's not part of our origin or our destiny. When a Paradise Havoner citizen consents to such a marriage, this is the revelator speaking. I might, this is him speaking, he's the essayist here. I might surmise that there is no opening to disappointment in this marriage. If such a child of born perfection consents to unifying with one of us, and he is one, then I would presume such a choice is pretty much perfect. They don't err, they're born without erring, impervious to disappointment. Let me continue on. We're getting close to the end here. Then we're going to get into the discussion because I got two major questions that I am desperate to get to know what you guys think. All right, here it is. Let's get to the creature trinitization. These are the two key fundamental quotes from paper 22, section 7, paragraphs 8 and 9. Here's what they say. Simultaneously with the appearance of a new creature trinitized son, there occurs this functional spiritual union of the two ancestors, us and whoever. The two trinitizing parents become one on the ultimate functional level. No created being in the universe can fully explain this amazing phenomenon, not unless you are a part of it. If it's part of your destiny, like an ascending mortal, this is our blessing from God to take this. Angels wish they could start as low as we have because they know the value of it. It is a near divine experience. Okay, next paragraph. While these parents of creature trinitized sons may become as one in their universe assignments, they continue to be reckoned on the rolls and registers of the grand universe creation as two separate personalities. Still, in the makeup and roll calls of the core of the finality and even to the ultimate levels, their roll calls of the architects of the master universe transcended time and space and the deity level of supremacy. During the current universe age, the age of the deity level of supremacy, all trinitization united parents are inseparable. That's kind of nice. They don't separate. It's like Adam and Eve. You don't want to separate these guys. Are inseparable in assignment and function. Where one goes, the other goes. What one does, the other does. Okay. Now let's get into the embracing of Trinity. The administrators of the seven superuniverses comprise both Trinity origin personalities and Trinity embraced ascendant evolutionary creatures. The Trinitization can either work those who are originally brought, like well, we'll get into it. Celestial beings who take their origin from the Trinity. Trinity origin beings are perfect representatives of the attitude of the Trinity. One such order of the Trinity being the divine counselors are the perfection of the divine counsel of the Paradise Trinity. Here's the thing, the Trinity itself is still bringing new personality concept identities into the adventure realm of time and space. They often incorporate the experiential counsel of their associates, quote, the perfect and Trinity embraced beings, us as potential of evolutionary ascent. Their associated and united counsel and conclusions are complete and replete and supported now by the third group of Trinity origin beings, not from ascendant origin, not attained Trinitization. They are of origin in the Trinity, universal censors, another being of Trinity origin. Their verdicts represent the nearest possible approach of the absolute attitude of deity within the time-space limits of the situation involved and the problem concerned. End quote. All Trinitized sons of origin or of attainment have undergone the unique experience of Trinitization. None of us know what that is, to be embraced by the Trinity, as either a part of their origin, the Trinity origin beings, or as an experience of Trinity embraced. Trinity embraced sons are, quote, forever devoted to Trinity service and assignment, quote, and, quote, embraces 7 orders of personalities. This is where we're going to end up, the 7 orders. These Trinitized sons of attainment, those who did not originate in time and space with any kind of Trinitization potential, but evolved to it, have attained it, quote, have been Trinitized in the divine embrace of the Paradise deities. Consequently, they function as the coordinate associates of the stationary sons of Trinity. Okay, we have ascending sons, we're that. We have descending sons, the Creator Son descends. There are sons that descend. There are stationary sons. We're not going to go into that. A lot of terminology. Okay, now this is rather critical, and I'm going to increase the size of it because, here we go, that should help. Let me go to it. This is my summary of all Trinity embraced sons. And remember, it's not just men and women, but it's also not just mortal ascenders. There are other grand universe personalities that are embraced by the Trinity. And they say, all Trinity embraced sons are originally of dual or single origin, such as the Trinity origin beings. But subsequent to this in Trinity embrace, they are forever devoted to Trinity service and assignment. This core as revealed and as organized for a super universe. The whole point of Trinitization by God is to send us back as infusions into all 7 super universes, to bring it to light and life. For super universe service embraces 7 orders of personality. Now, the first 3 are straightforward. These are all from father-fused mortal ascenders. Now, the first group they call mighty messengers are those who have been agendantered, the rebellion-tested, proven universe allegiance. They are immune to rebellion. Send those out into the time and space. That's a pretty good thing to do. Salt and pepper it with it. Those high in authority, those are the human beings that reach Havona and Paradise with superior administrative ability, executive genius. That's a value, isn't it? To be able to pull things together effectively and make it work. And then finally, those without name and number. And these show the importance of something very unusual. Kind of tells us something. Skilled ability to worship. So the first three are ascending mortals. This fourth group, now we get into something weird. We get certain angels, seraphim, and even midway creatures who have shown an ascendancy potential to find paradise. And as they have done so, they are embraced and they are called Trinitized sons of selection and called Trinitized custodians. So our seraphim, their destiny could take a path of becoming a Trinitized custodian, or our midway creatures can do the same. The next group is unusual. The Trinitized ambassadors. Now, we talk about the first three as being father fragment fused. Here we deal on certain worlds where it is not the destiny of these evolving mortal ascenders to fuse with a father fragment, but rather with a spirit or a son fragment. And they call them spirit and sun fused mortals of superior minds. Those that stand out are Trinity embraced and created as Trinitized ambassadors in service of the ancients of days and throughout the creation. Then finally, the last group are called the Trinitized sons of perfection. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because this is where it gets even foggy for me. The first group they call, remember our children that are out there? What do? They serve, and when they have served in the super universes, say with Trinity teacher sons, and they come back to paradise, they are embraced, and they call them celestial guardians. Trinitized sons having served with Trinity teacher sons. And then the final one, high sons assistants. And this is where it gets really weird. This is almost like a double-baked potato. Trinitized sons. I don't even know what the heck that means to trinitize a Trinitized son, and associated Paradise Havona personalities that can follow this path of destiny. These are paths of destinies to become embraced Trinity sons. Finally, they end this by saying these 7 groups of personalities are further classified, as we just did, according to origin, nature, and function, into 3 major divisions. The Trinity sons of attainment. Now you understand what that means, don't you? The Trinity sons of selection, chosen. And then the Trinity sons of perfection. I'm not going to go into the last 2 here. I don't want to get into major here. I think I explained that pretty well. This is in the handout. I do want to say one thing here, and I'm going to cut this down just a little bit so I could see it all. Here it is. All 7 orders of the Trinity embraced sons are assigned to all the 7 super universes. These ascendant and embraced beings have made their way. Whoops, that's not where I wanted to go. I wanted to go down. Okay. These ascendant and embraced beings have made their way through Havona, have attained paradise, and have achieved admittance to the core of the finality. Once embraced by the Paradise Trinity is finalized, they are assigned to the service of the Ancients of Days, and they're assigned as needed. There has never been a recorded default by any of these orders, though they may still incur errors in judgment. So they're not perfect. These Trinitized sons of attainment, such as our mighty messengers who have sponsored many of our papers, have, at least for the present universe age of supremacy, not yet into the master universe adventure, attained their destiny. So for now, they're done. And quote, paper 22. These trinitized sons of selection or of attainment, at least for now, are finished creatures in control of, let me get back to here, and I'm going to move down just a touch. At least for now, finished creatures, in contrast to the finalators who are now waiting to be unleashed at the present unfinished creatures. 6-stage finalators trying to become 7-stage. Now here is a great, I'm going to finalize this. This is the end of the presentation. Thank you guys for not dying on this. Paper 22 again. Here's the mighty messenger speaking to every one of us right now. You mortals who read this message, may yourselves ascend to paradise, attain the Trinity embrace, and in remote future ages be attached to the service of the Ancients of Days in one of the 7 super universes, and sometime be assigned to enlarge the revelation of truth to some evolving inhabited planet, even, and this is with this revelation we have in our hands, as I am now functioning on Urantia. Okay, here's 2 questions that we'll get off the shared screen. First one, and by the way, this is just to generate discussion. Anything you have to share is worthy. Excuse me, just take a sip here. First, have you ever considered whether your evolving ascendancy path, as unique as you are, and destiny might lead towards a 2-in-oneness act of creature trinitization with another celestial personality perfection? Obviously, if you had never even thought of this, you can't answer it. But now that you know, have you thought of it? Second question. With the appearance of a new creature trinitized sun, what would you speculate how you and your co-creative partner's relationship as father and mother, or whatever you want to call it, might be expressed while still in the present universe age of time-space supremacy? I am going to stop sharing now. And again, I just want to thank everybody for your patience on all of this. I know this was a ton. Now I'm going to ask for questions. The way I work with it with such a large crowd is I go to participants and I look for raised hands. If you have a raised hand, and I'm going to go to that now. And right now I have Henry, my good brother, my major brother. Thank you for being here, sir. And then I've got also I'm sorry. First, you know what, Henry? I set you up wrong. I have Bill first. And then Henry. So, Bill, what do you think, my friend?
Okay. Thank you, Stuart. First off, you said something earlier about Van and possibly being an ascendant. I thought that he was part of the Caligastia 100, wasn't he?
He was rematerialized. He was a mortal ascender who had reached Mansion World #1, gone through all 7 Mansion Worlds, and became now a graduate as a Jerusalem citizen of achievement. And he volunteered to be a service with the Lanonadic son secondary, who is Caligastia, on our world to basically raise us from animal nature to God aware of nature. Mm-hmm. What do you think of that, Bill?
Yeah, but I was thinking also of Amadon.
Oh, Amadon.
Amadon would be the one that would be coming from this world, and he stood side by side with Van against Caligastia and Satan and Lucifer.
Yeah, he sure did. You're absolutely right, Bill. Amadon, you know what? And in there, I challenge anybody. I wish I could go right to it right now. they give maybe the greatest tribute to any personality in this revelation, beyond anything, to Amadon. They say Amadon is recognized on the whole local universe scale of Michael's creation.
That's what I thought.
Great hero.
Yeah.
And they're in great admiration that a tadpole can show a flicker of faith that changed the world.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, and I thought that was so great and everything else when a human mortal that was, you know, working with a descendant was so, you know, honored. Amadon. He's one of the heroes, one of the 24, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, Amadon, you know, I wish I knew more about him, but I think what they're doing to me, you know what, Bill, I got to tell you what inspires me is don't ever belittle of what your faith can do.
That's right. Exactly.
It can move a mountain if you do it in the right way at the right time. And Amadon did that, didn't he?
That's right. And that's what I always say to everybody I talk to. Hold on to your faith. Faith is a key.
Absolutely, brother. I agree. Hey, you know, keep your positive. We can do this together. We're not alone. This is the family of God. Who's going to mess with us, bro?
That's it. You got it.
Man.
Thank
All right,
you.
listen, Henry, I'm going to go to you, sir. What do you think?
Thank you, Stuart. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Excellent. I see a pattern here. And the pattern on paradise is the Trinity. Now, we know that the Trinity, the deity Trinity, has creative prerogatives. But now, you know, for 20 minutes in your beginning presentation, you made perfectly clear how Trinitization makes 1 and 1 become 3. Now, here we have the Trinity model, right? Without the creative prerogatives. But the term that kept catching my mind was the identification. What's it called? Just a second here.
Concept identity?
Yes, concept identity. Thank you, Stuart. Concept identity is a functional term. You know, I mean, and of course, they do not go into any explanation of what that means, but we can extrapolate, you know, concept identity as, you know, a specific project that this Trinity or Trinitized union functions in. I find that extremely interesting. Of course, they go through all of the exquisite details of Trinitization and what that means, though functionally they speak very little to it, except in this universe age, they speak to us going back into time and space universes and functioning on certain levels, all the way from the super universe down into the local universe, you know, and that's kind of my initial thought on this Trinitization concept. The other thing that really kind of confused me was that they said that this trio union can still make errors or make mistakes or incorrect choices, and I thought that was an extremely interesting comment to throw in there, because, you know, you're starting from paradise perfection, you know, a paradise origin being and the finaliter both have achieved. One has achieved perfection, one is created in perfection, and still that union can create a, a, a disparity of understanding that an incorrect choice could be made. And that is, that's an interesting concept to my mind, that, you know, we make it all the way there, and and we still can stumble. You know, I mean, it's not over with yet. You know, even though we've gone so far, we've been on Paradise, we developed relationships with Paradise natives, then we apply to be Trinitized, you know, and then still it's not over with yet. So, you know, that's a tremendous dynamic, which you've eloquently displayed in your discussions. That's all I wanted to add. Thank you.
Henry, good brother. Hey, listen, we are deep in this cosmic rabbit hole, are we not? We are all Alison in Wonderland with all this revelation. It is imposing, but it is worthy of archaeological dig and investigation like we're doing now. And you're well invested in it, Henry. So thank you for your contributions. David Henry, good sir, what do you have?
Well, I've actually thought about this a lot over the decades. I think this error that can come into what I think we kind of would look at them as being perfected. I mean, one of the Trinitized beings is either a Paradise personality or a Havana personality. Well, we know that there's a billion Havana worlds. They're all a little bit different. They're all perfect. Now you take that and culminate it with the fact that there are 7 super universes. Now, what is the pathway to Paradise? How can it be different with us and with the 6 other super universes? What kind of perspectives might they have? And what kind of choices might you make that would be the right choice in one super universe, but maybe not quite another in another super universe? Then on top of that, take into consideration that when the first source and center and second source and center, the Father and the Son, come up with a unique, identical idea, they create a creator son. Well, they all have their own, I'm going to call it a bent. They all have their perspective on how their local universe is going to evolve. And they make a point our revelators make a point to say that many of the truths are relative. So, you know, if a Trinitized son makes an error, it's not what we would consider like a sin, or you know, it's nothing diabolical. It would just be, I think it's just simply a misadaptation of their concept of the pathway to Paradise, where one choice could be a little better than the other. And I think it's as little as that. Thanks. I think. I think.
No. Listen, I think you touched upon a really key thing. This idea of error is significant. Error to us is to be embraced, because you don't learn, you don't evolve, as David Kulicki talked about, the evolution of the deity adventure of supremacy of time and space. It's all driven by the dynamics of adventure and discovering and overcoming the inherent error. Not one of us is ever judged badly by the Father in heaven for our error because we're created in error. But we are given consciousness to know that when we have erred, that we have sent out ripples into time and space that are not positive or contributive. Now, when we do that, we recognize the evil effects of our error on the family of God in creation. Now, here's where personality becomes judgeable, because we have now a new divining line. When we see the evil of our ways and we don't correct our ways, then we are embracing the evil effects of our innate error that's we are always going to be prone to, including, as you just said, we can be embraced. We can find the Father, get into the finality core, we can be embraced, but we can still, as you said, Henry, and this is absolutely centered to what we've been saying, you can still err in the adventure arena of time and space. You know why? Because there are no answers. People think that God has a book on paradise that has all the answers regarding the adventure and the challenges of time and space. This is our adventure, and we become co-creators in faith with Him to figure out the challenges of starting from complete first tick-tock on the creative clock of the universes and the ancients of days to today. We have evolved to a status of achievements, one step at a time. And every single time, David, that you or any one of us contributes to that, we create a concept identity, something that lives in the pattern that can never be erased again. And it becomes original. Here's the whole thing. As I said, this is not a deterministic reality. This is a reality that God says, I'm creating for you, my children, a playground of adventure where you have a choice. I'm going to give you an eternal life of joining in with my purposes and plans. And if you be a part of it, you have it. You don't have to take it. If you say, I'm not into this reality, this is not my energy, God says, I do not impose myself upon you. This is the adventure, but it's also the sober reality of what we're involved with. Do we buy in to this adventure of aligning our allegiance and loyalty to Michael, to the Ancients of Days, and to the Father to bring this creation to something better? We are here today as Amidonian Amidons. Let's call ourselves the Amidonians. You know, what we're doing is striving as tadpoles at our current status to find faith and collectively now elevate with each other to a new consciousness. That we can do, and that's part of Jesus' spirit of truth, by the way, which we're not going to go into. David, does that help you out at all?
Would that be this, David?
Yes.
Oh, yes, it helps a lot. And thank you so much for addressing this, because I don't think I've ever heard anybody address this. And it's something that's really,
it's critical.
I've always wanted to address this topic. So Stuart, I'm staying up late tonight for this, you know.
Well, bless
I really
you, brother.
appreciate this. This is great, you know.
Bless you, brother. Hey, I will keep you up. Trust me. If anybody here is getting sleepy, I will focus my energy on you. I have enough adrenaline to spread. Okay, next one, Perry. Perry, dear sister, I know you so well from so many interactions. What do you think of what we're doing? You know, what we did today?
Well, I've just joined you to be here at my usual time. And for those of you who perhaps feel this topic is very obscure or far out or difficult to understand, I submit that it's actually really simple. It's really simple. It's just about love, the creativity, and the reaching of love. And when two people, beings, choose to commit to the time and all their energy, and they only get to try it once, and they might fail. And it is, we're told, the supreme disappointment if they do. But that love, to come together, two beings to have bet the bank on the possibility that both of them are holding the same idea, and that they're going to put everything they have, every part of all of their experience, into that manifestation of this new creation, this new ideal. And it's, we touch on it, I think, when we fall in love, and we have a child, or consciously embrace the idea of bringing another being that's a part of both, the best of both, into existence. So it's love making on the highest level possible.
Isn't it nice, Perry, that we don't have to stop our intimacy here in the human flesh? That when we embrace, I think even on the Urantia levels and all the transitions, it's not a physical thing. To me, the physical act of intimacy is just a physical act. But it's the process that you become at one-ment with another person. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a hunger and a connection that every personality we will have, not just on the supreme, this universe level, but forever. I think it's inherent to the whole dynamic of drive. What do you think of that, Perry?
I don't think there's any just about it. It's a challenge at every level.
It is. It is. Well, thank you for your input, Perry. Thank you. That was beautiful. I love. To me, the reason why I chose this subject is because it is intimate. When you choose in this world a human partner to be married to, it's an adventure in trust and whatever. That is a part of personality interaction. You cannot be a part of God's family unless you are interactive within it. And there are many ways of going from friendliness to friend to intimacy. And intimacy is not necessarily physical or sexual. It is a matter of the depth of connection and trust. And I can't imagine what it would be like on a billion Havona worlds to finally find some pattern of personality expression.
May I just give a little meme?
Yeah, please.
Sex is a cosmic act in which we participate.
Yeah. Yeah. And experience and share and touch. But every time we touch again, we're bringing in the energy of God. God is communal, it's total, it is part of the supremacy of the emerging supreme experience of the supreme being. It doesn't happen without this energy that we have. And I think God, the Father, appreciates his mortal children because he knows by sprinkling our seeds into creation. We disturb things. Coming in from the lowest personality expression on the totem pole, there is no lower expression of personality than mortal beings. We start from a baby that wets our, holy cow, we start from absolute start.
And yet that personality
Yeah.
is a gift from God.
Absolutely. It's a gift from God. And you know what? Our life is a blessing from God. It's an opportunity to embrace it, to embrace Him. And then, as we said earlier on with Marjorie Ray, to feel the joy of existence and knowing that we're doing the will of the Father. There's nothing greater in the world, they say, than knowing what the Father's will and then to be doing it. That's harmony with perfection. And that's something we're going to keep learning on. There's no limit. And I would just say the only envelope or boundaries that you have are those that you self-impose. If you have the Spirit of God, there are no boundaries. No boundaries. You got a thought adjuster within you. There are no boundaries that are impenetrable. I love it. I'm going to go to, by the way, Perry, thank you so much. You are such a personal being in so many ways. Every time I get you, I get a sense of the rhythm of your heartbeat because there's absolute life always coming from you, Perry. Thank you. I'm going to go to our good friend Alejandro Aran. Alejandro, are you available, sir?
Hola, hola, buenas noches. ¿No hay problema que mi comentario sea en español?
Yes, un poquito. Yo puedo hablar en español, pero un poquito, mi amigo. Pero.
Stuart, you need to choose the English channel.
Yes, and I'm going to do that. I just wanted to tell Alejandro I can get a little bit of him, but I am going to do that. So listen, let me go to me into interpretation, and then I'm going to, I guess it has, I want to go to, let's see, off, English. Okay, I'm going to go English. So, Alejandro, please, por favor.
Claro, buenas noches. Primero que nada quiero dar las gracias al Padre y a todos los que participan en que esto ocurra el día de hoy. Y bueno, retomando un poco lo que decías desde el principio, en torno a que es como un patrón, y empezaste con la analogía de 2 más 2 no es 1, sino que es 3, y de ahí lo desenlazas y lo desarrollas. Desde que empezaste, en mi mente estuvo presente siempre que esto era como la génesis de la familia, ¿no? Entonces, como comentaba Perry, creo que esta decisión que se toma, creo que es una de las decisiones más importantes que tomamos nosotros en la vida, ¿no? Con quién vamos a emprender esta gran institución como lo es la familia, y que desgraciadamente actualmente está un poquito tomándose muy a la ligera esta unión en todos los sentidos. Porque como lo decía Perry, también creo que no nada más lo podemos reducir a lo que sería el matrimonio como tal. Creo que es algo que ocurre intrínsecamente en la experiencia misma del vivir, porque en cuanto nos empezamos a relacionar con las personas, creamos algo. Y esto que creamos cuando interactuamos con nuestros semejantes va a ser significativo o directamente proporcional a la intimidad de esta interacción, a la sinceridad de esta interacción, a la honestidad, ¿no? Al amor que le pongamos en esta interacción. Entonces, creo que este tema a mí de plano me parece muy importante en todos los sentidos, porque como también lo decía Perry, ¿no? Puede ser este tema, así como otros, como los 7 absolutos, tal vez muy complicados cuando los abordas de manera intelectual, pero cuando los trasladamos a la vida cotidiana, a cómo experimentamos la vida, lo que encontramos todos los días, creo que es entonces donde podemos tener un poquito más de discernimiento en torno a lo que los reveladores nos tratan de decir a través de esta descripción de la manifestación del Padre en todos los sentidos y la manera en cómo la familia cobró un sentido importantísimo a lo largo y ancho de toda su creación. Entonces, muchas gracias por traer este tema y creo que nos lleva a pensar precisamente en eso, ¿no? En la familia y no solamente en eso, sino en qué vamos a hacer cada vez que interactuemos con alguien más, porque no va a ser nada más dos personas hablando, van a ser dos personas que intrínsecamente vamos a estar creando algo. Entonces, ver desde ahí la interacción con los demás, creo que nos hace pensar en que quién voy a ser yo cuando salga cada día e interactúe con mis semejantes. Era todo lo que quería comentar. Muchas gracias.
Alejandro, mi bueno hermano, muchas gracias. This is really remarkable. I am so happy to hear the blooming of your consciousness. It's young, it's energetic, it is hopeful, and you express it in such a devoted and faithful way. So thank you, bueno hermano, mi amigo Alejandro. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to say it was a very beautiful presentation, imbued with love. We noticed the love you have, and we noticed the love of the creators, this event of trinitization. So it is a privilege that is used once by each ascendant mortal. And it is very significant because your presence is extended via another person who will be doing good in the way that you have idealized. So this is one more aspect of this game of attuning to the Creator and doing God's will. Then I think we notice lately in world events that we are attuning a little more to the Creator's will, because there is a note of harmony, of understanding, and of disarmament, of goodwill, good faith, and good sense that will change relations in the short term, in the middle term, and in the long term as well. So I'm hopeful, and from Brazil, I follow these events, and I see in my own country how things are evolving positively, giving us lots of hope in the midst of this pandemic that altered much of the human relations in a way that shows we must be more spiritual, less sensual, but remembering that love includes all the senses. This is beautiful. Thank you very much.
Zhao, thank you very much. And by the way, what country are you from?
I'm from Brazil, but I have Portuguese and English ancestry.
Okay. Very good. Well, I don't know Portuguese. I've been exposed to it, but I don't get a sense of it just yet. But I understand you're from the other side of the coin and you have the same challenge, I'm sure, with English. Yes. So I share with you, brother.
Thank you. We are in this together.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are, hand in hand. All right, we got Nick Verano. Nick Verano is a brother of mine from long standing of a while. And Nick, you and I know each other well, so don't screw me up, or good guy.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to share. I've been reading Pierre Teilhard de Chardin on love. And what's amazing about it, he went through and covers just about the same pattern that two people develop a relationship, and a relationship is an entity that exists in the world. And it was just amazing, reaffirming everything I'm just starting to read about now, besides the Urantia book, that was around in the 50s. And I just wanted to share that it was a reconfirmation.
Yeah, I know, Nick, you and I both know, we are involved with the main flow of the Artesian well called the Fifth Ethical Revelation, through the Urantia papers, the Urantia book. But truth is constantly trying to emerge. That's the nature of the Supreme Being. The Supreme Being himself is like a child that's frustrated for not reaching light in life.
Right.
The Supreme Being cooperates with us macroscopically as we strive microscopically. We are hand in hand, aren't we?
Yes, we are. And it's amazing that, you find it in so many different places. When you really open your eyes and look, it exists out there.
It really does. You know what it takes? We got to break down the barriers of distrust that so many of us have on a almost animal level of fear, separateness between each other. We've got to be brave enough to dare to embrace one another's worthiness of being trusted and not be disappointed, because it's going to happen. We're always going to be disappointed. That's the nature of imperfect, evolving reality. We have to deal with that. But we can be Teflon suited. We don't have to be vulnerable to that. We can recognize it as that's the way things are. I love it in the Jesus papers, and I hate to say it, but it's a sober thing. Jesus told himself, his apostles and his disciples, as he sent them out, says, if you go to a village and they do not receive you gladly, said, wipe the dust off your feet and go to the next village. Don't think twice about it. It's not your fault. There are, as his seeds, the parable of the seeds. You cast some seeds and they find no earth to create root. But what we have to do in our seventh adjunct of mind is gain the wisdom and the Father connection to know when we are not fulfilling that ability to progress. Let's keep progressing and not get focused in on the regression aspects, which are always going to be pulling at us. I love that. I'm going to go to John Godfrey. John, sir.
Really appreciate your talk tonight. I'm constantly frustrated with the imperfections of being human and trying to learn from mistakes, but it's gratifying to see that that's what makes us what we are. So I appreciate all that.
Well, thank you, John. And of course, yeah, I know you so well from many of the UUI Cafe meetings, and you're a regular there, and your input is always one that I just listen to and make sure that John Godfrey is being heard. So well worth it. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Now I saw somebody here. There was somebody else who raised their hand, but it's gone now. All right. Well, I'm going to open it up again here. We've got 10 minutes left to the 2 hours. And by the way, I didn't set this up for 2 hours, but I thought the discussion could last us at least well into that time. I think it did. I think today we did talk about those things. I would only say my only departing message is I think what we are doing on a Urantiathon, globalizing a connection where we do not distinguish between national borders or time zones or anything. We see only one thing. Do you represent the energy of this world of Urantia? And if you do, we're connected. I love what we're doing. And again, I'm going to vote by saying, if there is a way to institutionalize this into our culture and make it at least a quarterly endeavor to connect to the world. I can't wait. I'm going to go as far as I can tonight before I pass out. And I'll try to get 6 hours of sleep and see if I can go for the rest of tomorrow. I love what we're doing. I love the energy. I love the connection. I love the cosmic sanity. Here's the thing. We've got all of these people here, and there's no disruption. This is part of our culture. We are living in the light, and that light is something we seem to share as part of our culture. We accept one another. We accept this. I love it. I think, I can't think of any other human organization of this many souls where you don't get conflict. But we don't even think about it, do we? We think about nothing. That's my final statement. May we all embrace a coming together of shared effort to raise the consciousness of this world and make a change. Let's send ripples into the time and space of the Supreme Being and make it happen. And faith as small as a mustard seed could destroy a mountain. Think of what we could do with this new technology to bring cosmic sanity, love, and balance into this world consciousness. That's my final soapbox. I am putting the soapbox away, Chris, and I leave it now to you, sir.
Let's see. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you to the entire Urantia University and their organization for giving us this treat to combine these events, and it's wonderful. So if you're not already, go check out the Urantia Cafe, the UUI Cafe at Urantia University. It's happening every week, multiple times a week, at least 4 times, but usually more 5 and sometimes 6 times a week. You'll find events like this